NASCAR Xfinity Series is back. We're at Darlington. Today's race probably not going to happen. There's a tropical storm throughout the Carolinas, and it's probably not going to happen, but it will happen eventually. So let's prepare for this race. At Darlington, for the Xfinity Series at Darlington, we have an average place differential of 5.29. That's not that good. It's a really tough place to pass at. The grooves are really tight. The turns are really tight. It's not a great place to pass. So you're not going to see as much place differential. Um, in the For the average of the last two Darlington races, the most laps led has been 80, and the second most laps led has been 42.5. So you're gonna want to nail those drivers and get them in your lineups if you wanna win big in the tournament. Um, in those in those races, we've had 2.5 drivers start outside the top 10 and finish inside the top 10. And now what we're going to look at today, you're going to see there's a good bit of drivers who I could definitely see doing that. And in all honesty, you probably want one or two of those guys in your lineup depending on what their salary is. We've also had 3.5 drivers start outside the top 20 and finish inside the top 20. Not that big unless they're guys that are like down here at 4,900 Joe Nemechek or 4,800 Bailey Curry, but I don't really see those guys finishing there, so they're probably not guys you're going to want to look for today. And we've had point 0.5 in the last two races finish in the top 10 outside top 20. That's probably not going to happen today. Well, we'll talk about Kyle Busch in a minute. And in the past two races, we've had an average of 1.5 drivers advance 10 plus positions, and that was only in the 2018 race where 3 drivers advanced 10 plus positions, and it was Denny Hamlin and I believe Chase Elliott who started really, really far back. So Cup regulars coming in and just dominating. So I mean, it's expected when those guys are in. All right, let's go driver by driver. The big name in this race, and he's priced that way, is Kyle Busch. He's one of the best in the Cup Series at Darlington. He comes down to the Xfinity Series where he's facing against competition that's nowhere near as good. That's the cars aren't as good. He's one of the best at the track anyway. He's gonna be starting 26. That's ridiculous. He's gonna plow through the first 15 cars that he's got to pass probably within 10 laps. None of these guys are as good as him. I know it's a tough place to pass at, but it's still Kyle Busch, and he's in one of the better cars. Problem is, he's priced at $16,000 on DraftKings. Oh, that's tough. It's one of the most expensive salaries I've seen in a while. I hate when the Cup guys come into these lower series because it just makes it so hard to make lineups. And in all honesty, Kyle Busch is going to pay off that salary unless he wrecks. He's going to get up to the front. He's going to lead laps. There's just, I really don't see many ways where he doesn't. Now it's just a matter of, can any of these guys down here in the 9 to 11K range do better than him and win the race, lead as many laps? If one of these guys or two of these guys can come close to the amount of points Kyle Busch puts up today, they're going to be optimal. So we're going to get into those two. If you are going to play Kyle Busch, though, you need to have some of these cheaper guys in your lineup. I mean, it's the only way. And honestly, if you want, what I want to do in my lineups is put Kyle Busch with one of these 10K guys or 9K guys. Because, I mean, they're also going to garner. One of those guys is going to lead a bunch of laps, get a bunch of points. There's some place differential for someone like Harrison Burton, maybe, or even Daniel Hamrick. But you have to, if you want to put those guys in the lineup, you have to have some of these cheaper guys down here. So the two guys I'm targeting to play with Kyle Busch that are really cheap is number 1, Colin Garrett. It's 5,200. He has not raced a race this year. He has not raced a race at Darlington and Xfinity Series in his career, so I have no data on that. But he starts 39th, and his car isn't terrible. He's in a decent car, and if you go here, he has a 21st place finish at Miami last year, where it's a track we got to run around the outside a lot. It's kind of similar to Darlington, not really too similar, but the style is the same. And he was able to finish 21st, and he had an average running position of 21.2. So if he can do that, I mean, he's going to pay it off. But I mean, I don't really expect him to get up that high. But if he starts 39th and at 5,200, if he gets into the top 30, that's paying off that salary pretty well. So I mean, he's someone I definitely like to pair Kyle Busch. And the other one I might like to pair is Massey at $4,700. He starts 33rd. Once again, he has no races at Darlington in his career in the Xfinity Series, but so far this year he's average finish at 29th and an average running position at 29.6, and he's got 20. Oh no, wait, never mind. He has 0 quality passes. Yeah, that makes more sense. He's just someone that at 4,700, if he gets you 4 positions, I mean, he could pay off that salary. He's going to be somewhat of value to you, and I mean, he might just be someone to plug and play at Kyle Busch. That's the only way you're playing Kyle Busch and one of these other two is if you put those guys in, and then you got to find some guys in this area, which we'll get to. All right, next up is Justin Allgaier. He has this, out of all the drivers who have raced here, he is the second highest rank for average finish with 8th. I mean, 8th average finish isn't really that great, but it does rank second among the field. I mean, there's no more Tyler Reddick, Christopher Bell, and Cole Custer, or John Hunter Nemechek anymore. So, I mean, those are just guys who he doesn't even have to compete with anymore, but he has Kyle Busch. He's got an average running position of 5.8 at Darlington, which is the best, and he's got 19.5 quality passes. Starting 10th, that's going to come in handy. He's going to have to get up to the front to lead some laps at the salary. It's hard for me to see him getting up to the front, especially the way he's been running this year. If you look at his what he's been doing this year, his last 5 races average finish is 11th. That's not that good. He's just, the team hasn't been working so well together so far this year, and they just haven't been running as well. But he has done a good has a good average running finish at 6.13. So I can totally see him getting up there. It's just I don't really know if I like him more than some of these guys who are a little bit cheaper who I feel like I'd rather play. But Allgaier probably won't be too popular because of Kyle Busch and because of Chase Briscoe, so he's a good pivot off of them and a good contrarian play. I can see where he gets up to the front, leads a bunch of laps, and I mean, he has a chance to win. He's definitely one of the guys who can beat Kyle Busch. I probably won't be playing too much Allgaier, if any Allgaier, but I can totally see paths to him becoming one of the best plays on the slate and winning a tournament. Up next, we got 10,600 Chase Briscoe. Chase Briscoe's been the best driver in Xfinity Series this year. If it wasn't for a wreck at, I believe it was Fontana, he would have had another win. But he's already got one win this year. He starts in 11th, so he has some place differential upside there. And he also has the best average finish out of all the drivers that have raced the race in this field. I really like Chase Briscoe. I feel like if anybody's going to be Kyle Busch today, it is Chase Briscoe. He has the second best average running finish at 6.3, and he's got 15 quality passes, which is one of the better ones in the field. That should help him get up to the front. If anyone is going to lead more laps than Kyle Busch or lead about the same amount, in my opinion, it's Chase Briscoe. I'm going to be playing a lot of Chase Briscoe today. He's also $5,400 cheaper than Kyle Busch. So far this year, he's got an average finish at 8.66. That's a little skewed from his spin out at Fontana where he was dominating, but he has been running really, really well, as you can see with the average running position at 5.16 and 31.33 quality passes average. Chase Briscoe looks really good today. He's my favorite top tier non-Kyle Busch play. I'm going to be playing a bunch of him. And I really like if you're fading Kyle Busch in a lineup. I mean, I wouldn't fade Kyle Busch. If you're playing multiple entry GPP, I would not completely fade Kyle Busch today. I don't think that's smart. But if you're making lineups without him, I like pairing 2 of Allgaier, Briscoe, Cindric, Jones, Burton, maybe Chastain, and then Noah Gragson. You can make good lineups with good value, and you don't have to go dumpster diving down here. And I mean, Chase Briscoe is my favorite play out of that. My favorite pairing is Briscoe and Gragson. We'll get to Gragson in a little bit. But right now, Chase Briscoe, one of my favorite plays on the slate. I think he has a ton of upside, place differential upside, lap sled upside, fastest laps upside, and he has the potential to win this race. Up next, 10,300, we have Austin Cindric. Cindric, he starts 7th. He's someone who could be a dominator today. He's got a track average of 10th, which ranks 5th among drivers who have raced this track. I like Cindric today. He's definitely someone who I could see getting up front just because of how well he's been running this year. I mean, look at his average finish of 4.33 and last 5 running position of 5.66. He's good. He's a good driver. He's one of the best in Xfinity Series this year, but Darlington hasn't necessarily been his best track. I like to pick him, but I would rather pick someone like Chase Briscoe, Harrison Burton. But Cindric is probably going to be way lower owned than Chase Briscoe, in my opinion. I don't see him coming up to that, so he could, if he gets out front and leads a bunch of laps, he could be a very, very good play today. Up next, we got Brandon Jones at 10K. He starts 8th here at Darlington. He's got a track average of 9.5, and which ranks 4th out of all these guys. I mean, see, like, you're already looking like he's done better than Cindric in his career, and Cindric's more expensive. His average running position hasn't been as great at 13.2, but at the end of the race, he seems to be making a climb, so I like that. I don't really know if he's going to be someone who can dominate. He definitely has the potential, as he did dominate at Phoenix. Well, he led a bunch of laps at Phoenix. I wouldn't say he dominated that race, but he led a bunch of laps at Phoenix. So I really like Brandon Jones today. I think he's going to be underowned. I don't see if you can go to get Harrison Burton, who starts 4 spots back and who has been running just as well if not better, than Brandon Jones this year. I think people are going to do that, but Brandon Jones will be under own. If he gets out front, leads a bunch of laps, a ton of fastest laps. I mean, he's in a Gibbs car, so he's got a fast race car. He's totally someone I could see leading a bunch of laps and being in the optimal lineup today. Up next, we got Harrison Burton, 9,700, first year in Xfinity Series. Never raced the Darlington Xfinity Series, but he's been off to a hot start this year. Average finish of 2.66, average running position of 4.8, and 41 quality passes, which should help him get to the front. I don't see any reason Harrison Burton isn't in the top 5 in this race. He's one of the best drivers in the Xfinity Series. He's in probably the best car in the Xfinity Series. There's so much to love here, and he's not going to be as own as Kyle Busch. It's hard to fit these two in the same lineup, but I mean, I've got one or two with those two in the same lineup. I'm really looking forward to Harrison Burton today. I hope he's not as owned as I think he is, but I mean, I could see him being a second or third highest owned top tier driver today. But I'm going to be playing a good bit of Harrison Burton. I really like him. He has the potential to win this race. It'd be cool to see him beat Kyle Busch in a Gibbs car like Brandon Jones did. I mean, honestly, I'm just rooting for not Kyle Busch to win. I just don't like him when he wins. I think it'd be so cool if I won GPP with one of my lines without Kyle Busch. Because I've been saying for day 2 now that I don't want to play Kyle Busch. It's scary, but you kind of have to, so I'm stuck doing it. Ross Chastain, not as huge on Ross Chastain. He's wrecked out of his races at Darlington Xfinity Series, starts 9th. I'll be playing a little bit of him. He's got an average running position of 6.6, which does rank 3rd, so it's pretty good, but he hasn't been running as well this year as some of these other drivers around him in salary. He's got an average finish of 5 in the start season, average running position at 8.83 to start season, and 38.3 quality passes. He's also got only 6 quality passes at Darlington, which I don't really like. That scares me a little bit. That shows me that he may have trouble driving up through the field, and he may really just hover around 9th. And I just don't think he has the upside as someone like Harrison Burton, Brandon Jones, or Daniel Hamrick below him. So he probably won't beat out. Well, see, here's the thing about Ross Chastain. I don't think people are going to want to play him because I don't think they think he's as good. If you look at the game logs, he hasn't been that good. But Ross Chastain's a Cup Series driver. He's a bigger name than some of these other guys, so I could see people wanting to go play him. All right, and up next we got Daniel Hamrick. He comes in at 9,100 today, starts 23rd. That's a good place differential. He's probably going to be the chalk because you look at all these guys around the same price and they all start high. And you got Daniel Hamrick, 23rd. So he looks like someone who could get a lot of place differential points. He's got a track average of 11, which ranks 6th out of all the drivers. So I like that. And an average running position at 8.3, which ranks 4th out of all the drivers. Now, Hamrick didn't race in the Xfinity Series last year. He raced Cup last year in Xfinity 2 years ago. So these are from 2 years ago, these stats right here. But he's had a rough start to the year because he's been wrecking and stuff, but he should be fine. He's got 19 quality passes here, definitely, which is 2nd out of all the drivers, actually. So that's someone who could drive up through the field and get his place differential going real well. He's also got average finish of 7 in the last 5 races and average run position of 10.55 and an average 20 average quality passes. So he's been running fine. He's a good play. I don't think he's really going to be in the optimal lineup because I think some of these guys are going to be have way higher points because of laps led and fastest laps. I don't think Hamrick's going to have any of that. And I think there's a few guys down here that can get just as much, if not more, place differential than Hamrick. So Hamrick's going to be chalky, but I don't really know if he's my favorite play. If you're playing cash, Hamrick's a great play. You play Hamrick, that's it. You move on from it. But if you're not playing cash lineups, I don't mind not playing Hamrick in GPPs or in a lot of lineups in GPPs. I have him in some. He's not one of my highest owned drivers, but I have some Hamrick because he does have top 5 potential. He's a good driver. He's in a good car. So I could see it, but he's not necessarily one of my favorites. All right, Brett Moffatt. I don't really know why Brett Moffatt's 8,900. He's not someone I'm looking to play. I know he starts 22nd. That looks good for people looking up front, and I hope people play Brett Moffatt because he's not someone. If I pay up $200 more to get Hamrick, who should finish higher, I'd rather do that. Brett Moffatt's got an average finish of 16 this year, so that's 6 place differential points versus Hamrick, who has an average finish of 7th this year and an average finish of 11th, which is just a boatload more than Moffatt for only 200 more. And for someone who I think has better chance of getting fastest laps, I just don't really get the pricing on Brett Moffatt. If Brett Moffatt was in the lower 8K or even higher 7K, he'd be a great play. There'd be no debating that. But 8,900 for Brett Moffatt, he's more expensive than Noah Gragson. That makes 0 sense. Getting to Noah Gragson, I told you earlier, he's my favorite guy to pair with Chase Briscoe if you're not playing Kyle Busch. I like that because Noah Gragson starts on the pole, and it's such a hard place to pass here. I totally see him getting out to an early lead. And the top 4 drivers that he's got to compete with for those to get out on a jump ahead is Michael Annett, who I'm going to get to is not that good, and Haley and Sieg. Gragson's better than all of them, and he's in better equipment than all of them. He's racing for Junior Motorsports. He's got one of the better cars. He won Daytona. That data's really not in this, but he had a really good run at Fontana before he crashed out. He did well at Phoenix and he did well at Vegas, so I really like him this week. He's got an average finish at 8th at Darlington, which ranks 2nd, tied for 2nd with Allgaier. Average run position at 13th, which ranks 8th, so that's not as great. But the fact that this is such a hard track to pass, and I really expect him to get out and lead a bunch of laps early for only 8,700, that seems like a really good deal. I don't get why he's 8,700. The way he's been running this year, he should be higher than Hamrick and Moffatt, especially for someone starting on the pole. But that's okay. If people don't want to play Noah Gragson because the team's starting to pull, that's fine. I'll play him. Maybe he won't be his owned. But I mean, look this year he's got an average finish of 3.66. That's 3rd. 4th. Kyle Busch out of 3. So that's 4th place out of all these guys. If Gragson gets out and leads like 20 or 30 laps and then finishes 4th place, I'm cool with that. That's great day for him. Could be one of the better plays on the slate. Average run position at 9.06 isn't that great, but it is a little skewed because of his accident where he still rode around after that. And last 5 quality passes with 36.33. Gragson's great. The quality passes don't matter as much because he's going to be starting up front anyway, so I really like him. Michael Annett, on the other hand, starts 2nd, 8,500. I'm not playing Michael Annett today. He's not as good of equipment. He's not as good of a driver as some of these guys. He's has an average finish of 11.5 here, and average which ranks 8th. Average run position at 12.5, which ranks 7th. I just see him getting passed by all these guys. I don't think he has the upside of Gragson. I mean, of course he can get out and lead the first few laps, but I think Gragson will get out to the jump. I think he's just a better driver and in better equipment, so I don't see why it would be Michael Annett here. He's just not someone really looking to play today. Jeffrey Earnhardt's a tough one because he's priced high, and at first I was like, 34th starting spot? I'm going to smash Jeffrey Earnhardt this week. But I'm not so high on, he's driving for JD Motorsports, which David Starr had been driving, but David Starr didn't have the money or something like that to be able to drive it. So and that car wasn't that good. David Starr was a top 25, maybe more like 30th guy running around. And so the fact that he's driving that car and he's 8,300, I don't like as much. If Jeffrey Earnhardt was in the 7K range, I'd play him for sure, just because he's starting 34th. But I don't like the fact that he is in the 8,300 range when I can just pay up 400 more for Greg. I'd rather play Noah Gragson. I'd rather drop down to even someone like Ryan Sieg or Riley Herbst. So I don't see the point in playing Jeffrey Earnhardt today. Not my guy for today. I think he might be chalky though, and I hope people play him because I don't think he's going to pay off that salary as well as everyone thinks he does. I could be wrong, and Jeffrey Earnhardt could finish top 20. Maybe he's just that much better in the equipment he's really in, but I'm not really expecting that. Justin Haley starts 3rd. I'm not going to be playing Justin Haley today. He's a good driver. He's a good driver here. He's done pretty well. Average finish of 11, which ranks 6th. Average run position 11.4, which ranks 6th. 8 quality passes, but he starts 3rd, and there's just guys behind me who are better. I don't see him jumping out to the early lead. He'll probably finish top 10, but I don't see him having any laps led, many fastest laps, and he's going to lose points for place differential. I mean, he could be a solid play, but I just don't see the upside for Haley, and I'm shooting for upside when I'm playing GPPs, and I wouldn't even really play him in cash. It's just, he's got a lot of quality passes, but that's because he's hovering back in the middle of the pack for most of the race. And he's just, passing guys left and right. So, up next we got Ryan Sieg at 8K, starting 4th. He's even worse than Haley. For literally the same reason I'm not playing Justin Haley, I'm not playing Ryan Sieg, and Ryan Sieg's worse at this track. Average finish 15.5, which ranks 10th. Average running position is 16.9, which ranks 12th. Only 4 quality passes, but it's not like he's driving up the field. He's probably going to be getting passed by guys like Allgaier, Briscoe, Cindric, Jones, Burton, Chastain, Hamrick, not Moffatt. Gragson will already be ahead. So I don't see the upside. Again, same reason as Haley. I don't really want to play these guys. No one's going to own them, so if for whatever reason their cars are just really fast and to get out to a big lead and lead a bunch of laps, then they're going to be optimal to have, but I'm not going to play them today. I say today. It's not like this race is happening today. It's happening in like a week. Freaking 2020 never misses. Just not been a year. All right, Josh Williams, 7,800. He's way too expensive. I don't get this price up. You can look at the colors on Josh Williams versus all the guys around him. Why is he this guy 7,800? Starts 15th. He's got an average finish of 24th, which is way worse than 15th. It ranks 16th just because there's a lot of drivers he's been racing against aren't in the field anymore. But I mean, it's just he isn't good here. He's 7,800, isn't good here. The equipment isn't as good. He's been running decently this year with average finish of 5th or average finish of 13th and average running position of 16.9. I mean, it's just not appealing to me. I don't really see the point in playing Josh Williams at 7,800. If he was more in lower 7Ks in the 6K range, I would consider it. But I mean, I don't even know if I'd play him there. I just don't think he's the guy here. I think there's better options. We got Ray Black Jr., 7,700, starting 19th. This is a guy that I think people are going to look to play, but I'm not going to look to play him. He has an average finish of 16th here, which ranks 11th, and average running position at 18th, which ranks 13th. He's not in the best of cars. Only has one quality pass, so I mean, what you really expect Ray Black Jr. to drive up into the top 10? Like one quality pass, he might get 18th, he might get 17th. It's not really going to pay off that salary, especially when I can go down to the next guy I'm about to talk about. But this year hasn't been good either. Like he's got an average finish of 21 and an average running position of 22, and only 3.66 quality passes average over the past 3 races. I'm not big on Ray Black. I hope people play him. I mean, maybe they won't, but you get in the 7K range, and there's just not a lot of guys outside Jeremy Clements that we'll get to that I think people are going to want to play. And I think a lot of lineup construction I was making today was ending up on this range, and I would have to find a way to get off that range, or I would just play Riley Herbst, who is too cheap. He's in a really good race car. He starts 5th, so I get that, and he's never raced here. He's a rookie. He's not someone that people really want to play. He's got a reputation for really not being that good, but he's running well this year. He's got an average finish of 7th and an average running position at 8.66 this year. Like, that's good. And he's only 7,600. He might lose a few spots. He might finish top 10, but he finishes top 10, gets a few fast laps. And, I mean, honestly, he has potential to be a dominator. He finished 3rd if Fontana was up front the whole race. He is definitely someone he's a much better driver than Ray Black and Josh Williams. And, honestly, I think I'd rather have him than Ryan Sieg. I'd rather have him than Annette and Earnhardt. I'd rather have him than Brett Moffatt driving right now. So, it's just maybe not driver talent, but the car he's driving is really good. So I don't understand his pricing at 7,600. He's way too cheap, and people are going to be like, oh, he starts 5th, I don't want to play him. But if he hovers around top 10, he's going to pay off that salary because there's not going to be too much place differential today. I really like Hurst. I don't think people are going to play him. I think he's going to go under-owned, and if he finishes top 5, it's going to smash his value. But even if he finishes top 10, he has a good day, and I don't really see any reason why he wouldn't finish top 10. He hasn't not finished top 10 all year outside Daytona where he wrecked. Brandon Brown starts 6th. He hasn't run well here. I want to play him. Average running position or average finish at 18th, ranks 13th. Average running position at 23.35, ranks 15th. He's just not the guy here. He has run well this year. He has an average finish of 7.66, average running position of 15th, but he starts 6th. Like if Brandon Brown started 10 spots back, I'd want to play Brandon Brown. I think he's a good driver, and I think he's better than Josh Williams, which I still don't understand his pricing. But he starts 6th, so that's tough. Have to move on from that one. Hopefully next week we'll get a better start or a worse starting spot. Alex Lavie, I think that's how you say his name, 7,300. Starts at 16th, but I mean it's just not a lot of upside. I mean he has an average finish at 18th, which ranks 13th. Average running position of 20.15, which ranks 14th, and 0.5 quality passes. So I don't really see him advancing. If anything, I see him falling back. I mean you got guys like Kyle Busch coming. You got Hamrick and Moffatt coming, which will probably all pass him. I mean, it's just Jeremy Clements we're about to talk about. I just don't see the upside for Alex Lavie. It's not like he's run great this year. Just at best, I see him hovering around 16th, which isn't bad, but I feel like you can just play Jeremy Clements, who's going to be the chalkiest guy in the slate, but that's okay. I'd still rather play chalk that's going to score more points than someone who's under-owned who's really not got a lot of upside. Jeremy Clements starts 30th. I don't really know how that happened. I guess he's had a bad owner's position, and he just drew the worst spot. I don't know. Didn't really pay that much attention. I just looked at the starting line and went with it. 7,100 for a guy who's got an average finish of 14, which ranks 9th. So he finishes 9th place today, which I think that's a stretch. I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's going to finish in top 20, which is going to get you at least 10 points, 10 PD points. But he's going to give you 21 PD points at 7,100 if he gets up to 9th. He's got an average running position of 16.45, ranked 11. So that's 19 right there, right? Did I do that math right? Probably not. Whatever. Quality passes only has 4, but I mean he's gonna get to 23rd because like look at the guys he's got to pass here. All right, here's the guy starting in front of him. Josh Williams, who just isn't good. Ray Black, who I think he should be able to pass. Alex Lavie should be able to pass. Mike Snyder, that one's maybe a little iffy. Tommy Joe Martins, no problem there. Then he's got Anthony Alfredo. Okay, we're not going to talk about that. But Little and Miller, he should be able to pass. He's better than these guys. He's in a better car. I just don't see why. There's nothing wrong here. Like, this is a chalk play, and you play it. He's good chalk. Jeremy Clement, unless he wrecks, which, oh well. Can't really predict wrecks. It sucks. Unless it's Ricky Stenhouse, you can predict that. I still can't believe he crashed on the first side. I mean, actually, I can. It's pretty funny. Snyder, 6,900, starting 14th. He's a rookie this year, too. He has no data here for Xfinity Series. He's been running okay this year. At Pole Daytona, he's got an average running position of 15.2 and 22.6 quality passes. I just don't see the upside starting 14th. I mean, he'll probably hover around there all day. There's just really not a lot of upside. Tommy Joe Martins is way overpriced. I mean, it's crazy I'm saying someone 6,700 is way overpriced, but Anthony Alfredo is cheaper than him. That's a joke. He's got an average finish of 28.5, which ranks 19th. Average running position of 28.8, which ranks 20th. He could get a few spots, but I don't really see it, and there's no way, in my opinion, that he outscores Anthony Alfredo. Alfredo is wildly underpriced. He should be up in the 7K range. He's in the RCR car that Tyler Reddick drove last year. Different number, but it's the same team, same equipment. And he's a good driver. It's not like Anthony Alfredo's bad. He's better driver than some of these guys above him. Absolutely love him. It's a high track he'd run high group, which he ran at Fontana, and he did really well there. He finished 6th place, the only race he raced this year. But in that one race, he finished 6th and had an average running position of 11.3. And at 6,700, or 6,600, my bad, that's just paying off that salary wildly. I don't see any reason why not to play Anthony Alfredo today. He's probably my highest owned guy today. Just about all my lineups, just because he's a good car, good driver, and he's 6,600. He should get a top 10 today. I mean, a top 5's not even out of the realm of possibility, but a top 10 should happen for Anthony Alfredo today. And he's in a fast car, so some fastest laps can happen. That would not surprise me at all. Jesse Little, don't play him. Starts 18th. Probably going to drop back. If anything, just hovers around there. Vinnie Miller, bad at Darlington. Just bad. He's done decently this year, but he also starts 20th. But, I mean, Darlington, look at this. I mean, it's been horrible to him. Average finish at 32.5, average running position at 32.55. I want to play Vinnie Miller. Landon Castle's numbers look good. He's in a different car, though. He's going to start in park. Don't play him. Also, going to start in park is Stephen Light. Do not play either of those two. They're going to start in park. I just highly suggest not playing him. We got Joe Graff Jr. He's my other cheap guy. He's not down here with Colin Garrett and Mason Massey, but he's cheap. 5,900. Someone I'm playing with Kyle Busch. Someone I'm playing in a lot of lineups. No data for Darlington. He's never raced in his career, but this year he's had an average running position of 27, or average finish of 27.33, and an average running position of 24.13, which is pretty good. And he starts 36, so he should be able to get plus 8, 9, 10 spots. I don't see why that's out of the realm of possibility for him. It's going to pay off that 5,900 salary. The rest of these guys just are guys that are just going to run around the back, don't have any positional upside. Ronnie Bass, Timmy Hill, Matt Mills. I talked about Stephen Light, Fincham. I still like Garrett, Colby Howard, Vanderwall, Nemechek, Curry, and McLeod, who starts off 13th, so really don't play him. If you're playing him, I don't know what's going through your mind. It's really all I got for today. My favorite picks to dominate, Kyle Busch, obviously, and he has place differential upside, of course. I like Briscoe a lot to dominate. I like Harrison Burton a lot to dominate. I like Graxton a lot to dominate. Those are and my sleepers, Riley Herbst. I don't think that'll happen, but I could see where stuff goes his way. He has a fast car that it can happen. My best place differential players are Kyle Busch again, Hamrick, not Brett Moffatt. I just don't play Brett Moffatt. And Earnhardt either. I wouldn't play him, but I'd rather play Earnhardt than Moffatt. Let's say that. Jeremy Clements, Anthony Alfredo, and Joe Graff Jr. Good luck making your lineups today. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, drop a like, drop a subscribe. I'm really trying to make it big out here, and this is something I really enjoy doing. It'll help me a lot. Any views, likes, subscribes, notification bells, any of that, help me out, help me reach more people. Thank you, everybody.